We're so happy to have you all with us. And we're also happy to have with us Linda Desmond. And Linda, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Rick.
All right, good. What a beautiful morning, isn't it? Weren't you surprised how mild it was outside? I was ready to throw a coat on and everything.
I still have 3 layers on. That's all right.
Yeah. All right. So Linda is with Northampton Neighbors, and Northampton Neighbors is an outstanding organization, and they help people, help our seniors age in place, which is such a wonderful thing. I mean, there are so many ways that that people can end up being pushed out of their homes. So let's talk about how things started, and it looks like it goes back to the book Being Mortal, I guess. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Or?
Yeah, it was. I wasn't part of that original group of. There was a group of Northampton neighbors who met together, friends met together to in a book club, and they started to read Gawande's book on being mortal, and they just. Started to really think that, it inspired them to create this sense of community from the older population, to create this initiative that will keep people at home with dignity and respect.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful thing. I think I mentioned at one time, I don't know if you were part of this email thread where I was talking about connecting my former neighborhood group on the Nonotuck Street with Highland Valley Elder Service. So I recruited a number of volunteers to help what we would call shut-ins with friendly conversation, laundry, shopping, and my volunteers came back and just said, "This is like gold. The degree of gratitude I'm getting from these people just helping with these basic tasks, but it's a very valued thing to our seniors."
Yeah, and that's very similar to the profile of Northampton Neighbors. I've been a professional in the field for about 50 years, and I'm at a point now where I feel like there needs to be gaps, and this is that gap filler. I think we have an incredible array of professional services that help people, whether it's the visiting nurses, Highland Valley Elder Services, the Northampton Senior Center, but they can't always be everywhere, and so I think it's the responsibility of the community to create a sense of a supportive mechanism to take care of those gaps.
Absolutely. Now, it looks like it all came together in 2017. You registered as a nonprofit and set up a board, and so things really got rolling. And it sounds like you really garnered a lot of interest and a lot of involvement as well. Could you talk about that, how that happened?
Well, the enthusiasm of the members is, and the building of the capacity in that year's time is just really incredible to me. Again, having worked in this field so long, and been a community development person for most of my life, I've never seen this kind of uptake in a community. We actually have over 500 members in less than a year. To me, that signifies that there's this real need out there for the older population themselves, and then a sense of commitment by our community is just really incredible. Northampton, the concept is the village concept, where there's over 200 villages in the United States, and a large percentage of them charge a membership fee, and we've decided, because of the profile of our organization and the location of our organization, we're in Northampton, that we weren't going to charge a membership fee. So we have other ways of bringing, we don't need a lot of revenue because of the volunteer base. That's how we build the capacity. And anyway, it's working. It's really working.
Yeah, it sounds like it's working really well. And just to let folks know, they can reach out to Northampton Neighbors a couple of different ways. Here's a phone number, 413-341-0160. Again, 341-0160. They can go to northamptonneighbors.org and Northampton Neighbors, northamptonneighbors.org. They're also on Facebook, Northampton Neighbors. So what is your you said, well, first of all, I want to just acknowledge that Valley Free Radio is where we are because of your work of turning this old grammar school into a community, Florence Community Center, basically.
Yep.
So you've had a history of kind of community organizing. And what's your trade exactly?
I actually just retired about 3 or 4 months ago as director of the Northampton Senior Center. I had worked at Highland Valley Elder Services. I actually I spent 10 years working internationally in Dublin, Ireland, for a program on aging. So
Wow,
this
so you
has
have a
been
lot
my
of-
field. I
this is your
started at
thing,
Walter
yeah.
Salvo House as a nutrition site director when I was 24 years old.
Wow.
And I'm not there yet. I'm not there anymore, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah.
And how's it going so far?
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Busier than ever, I'm sure. Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, this is a great place to land, with this organization. Now, so people can call in and they can become a member. And
Yep.
what would they do? What kind of training would they get? Who would they be connected with? Can we talk a little bit about that
Sure.
kind of structure of the organization and where folks fit in? And all that.
Sure. My role is coordinator of volunteers.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm asking the right person.
Yeah. So we do a brief interview for people who are interested in volunteering. So there's a difference between the membership and volunteers. I mean, you can be a member without necessarily volunteering, but of the 500, about 80 of our members are volunteers. And so there's a brief orientation. There's a Corey check. There's and then there's an first, there's the introduction where I would meet someone or some of our other members of the support committee would meet and have a brief talk just to see if everybody, what the skill levels are. And, we have some specific volunteer opportunities. But then when you start talking to someone, we might evolve to another place, another volunteer opportunity. Nice. And again, this is Northampton, and the people here and the resources, the human resources we have here are incredible. Then we do an orientation maybe every other month, and we do a recognition. Well, since this is a relatively new program, this will be our first annual recognition that's coming up in November.
Outstanding. Now, it looks like you guys do a lot of kind of mix and mingle sort of things. Seasonal sort of things, and you also are your volunteers organized by ward? Because I see ward neighborhood, like Ward 3, Ward 4, Ward 1, Northampton Neighbors meeting. So is that how people tend to cluster or get together in groups?
There's a variety of ways, but that's one of our new things that we're developing, neighborhood circles.
Oh, okay.
Because again, who better than neighbors to know if Mrs. Smith is alone and isolated and she's 3 doors away from you,
Yeah.
So, and they meet on, again, it reflects the neighborhood. So they might meet on a monthly basis just for tea. They might meet for to watch a program together, or to provide a service and support for an individual. So our services sort of have that two paths. We're again developing the neighborhood circles, but we do have a general all Northampton service element too.
That's just so amazing. I mean, I just think of the, psychosocial benefit. The first thing I think that goes is connection to, friends or friends passing or family members being out of town, and that lack of kind of connectedness, and this just really bringing that back in such a huge organized way. And you have the experience of just running organizations like that and delivering these services to the people who most need it. It's such a wonderful thing.
It feels right to me. When I was approached by Northampton neighbors they called me and sort of told me about their program, and I said, "Oh, can I be on your board?"
Yeah, right.
Because it is what is needed from a gerontological perspective.
Sure.
I know that this is what's needed. We have to bring back the neighborhood. We have to bring back the community if we want to keep people, give the people the integrity of living in their home. Sometimes it has to be 24/7, and if it's 24/7, then the neighbors and the community have to be supportive of that initiative.
Absolutely. And by the way, we should give a shout out to Catherine Baker, who helped organize this interview. Unfortunately, she's down with a cold this morning. So Catherine,
sorry,
if you're listening, we hope you feel better, and thank you so much for having Linda come in and be able to get this message out to my listeners. And by the way, I'd like to say this is WXOJ 103.3 FM Northampton, Valley Free Radio, streaming online at valleyfreeradio.org. And we're happy to have you with us this morning, and we're very happy to have our Northampton Community Television audience here. And we're so grateful to Al Williams and Jen and Dave and all the folks there who help get the cameras in here and get us on our community television as well. We have a moment to take a break. We're going to just go to some local music. We're going to allow you to kind of catch your breath, etc. So I'm just going to reach in here and grab a CD, and this is what I was looking at earlier. This is a band that has been in the studio here at Valley Free Radio. This is Sweet Little Bloodhound, and this is Superhero Female. So we'll be right back with Linda Desmond, and enjoy the music. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Sure. Yeah, so are we going in the right direction? Okay. All right.
Pretending that I'm Spider Girl, climbing up the hill, and I'm watching for my enemies, looking for a thrill.
Yep.
Now I am a Wonder Woman, flying a jet, and nothing's gonna stop me. It hasn't stopped me yet. I'm a superhero female, wield my guitar for power, plant a million seeds, and you turn them into flowers.
Okay. How long is our interview? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a half hour.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know that the national organizations are looking to the village movement are looking toward analyzing between the value of the free membership or that's interesting. It's showing that as far as the productivity, it's pretty similar. And it's just that they might have a little few more activity. I mean, some of the things that are coming up we could talk about. There's going to be we're starting presentations on a quarterly basis, but we're hoping to do it on a monthly basis. And Steve Harrell is going to be our first guest. It's going to be at the Salvo. It's going to not at the Salvo. It's the Senior Center, and I think we'll find the site pretty soon. Yeah, they could access. Yeah.
No one can tell us we're wrong. We're superhero females, come on. Superhero females, hold on. Superhero females, lead on. we never made it. Spent years alone trying to fake it. Trapped youth and beauty in our pages. Yes, time was never in our favor. You shuffle and still you're there at inconvenient times. Haunted, haunted, haunted endlessly, losing patience. Wonder, wonder, wonder everywhere. I can't take this. Living with the undead. Barely there. Runner's head, I know I have to face this. Regrets are worthless imitations. I wove a plot that never changes. Gotta stop creating limitations. I'm tired of breathing in your vapors. Goodbye to all the mental labor. I'm free, and I'm not gonna waste my time. Haunted, haunted, haunted endlessly, losing patience. Trying to keep my head. Ghosts wander, wander, wander everywhere. I can't take this. Living with regret. Barely there. Barely there. Haunted, haunted, haunted endlessly, losing patience. Trying to keep my head. Ghosts wander, wander, wander everywhere. I can't take this.
All right, we're back with Linda Desmond from Northampton Neighbors, the organization that helps people age in place right here in Northampton. And they are just right here, available at, reachable at 341-0160, 413-341-0160, and at northamptonneighbors.org. And you can also find them on Facebook at Northampton Neighbors. So we're going to pick up the conversation again. And one of the things you talked about was this kind of idea of reciprocity. Let's talk about that.
Well, since the majority of Northampton neighbors are over 60 years of age, or 55, I have to think about that because we have anyway. But I'm almost 70 years old, and I'm fine. But every now and then, there's a time you might have to get to that doctor's, and you might need that ride home. And so I can get a ride home from Northampton Neighbors, and because of my membership in the group. But then there's also the fact that, when I'm 90 and I'm still wanting to live on Middle Street in Florence, can I do that alone without the support of my community? And that's the question. And because I'll be involved in this from a number of years, and I anticipate that involvement, then there's a base for me. Then I will know my neighbors, and they will know me, and they'll help me with my needs, and that will give me the base to stay in my home as long as possible.
That's fantastic. I love that concept.
I think so.
Where just people are giving back to one another, and
I mean, it used to be
help
that,
and then be helped.
Yeah. It used to be that was part of your involvement, your membership of your community, being a resident of Northampton, But that was a long time ago when we had that community feeling, and there's all these factors, liability, all these other factors, and we're trying to characteristic.
I mean, in a lot of ways, some people would rather just sit at home and, cruise surf the internet or be on Facebook or something rather than get out and help or get involved. This is a great way to help and be involved at the same time. So let's talk also about, now there's a quarterly presentation coming up. Do you want to talk about that presentation and what's happening?
Well, a part of our program is not only just service, but then there's also the social aspects of it, whether it's on a neighborhood, meeting up for tea in your neighborhood, or going to a mix and mingle once a month in Hugo's. And being an old Northampton person, that makes me kind of laugh. But it's such a cool place to meet up, and and the average age is maybe 75, and we're hanging out in Hugo's, which is a cool thing. We another part of our social aspect is we're going to have a speaker series, and right now it's a quarterly. We're anticipating that to maybe even get to a monthly perspective. And in October, we're going to have Steve Harrell is writing a book, and he's going to tell us all about his experiences in making some of the best ice cream in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, totally.
Little biased, but anyway.
That's great.
And he's going to tell us about it, and then we're going to be able to sample some of his wonderful creations. And that'll be in October, and that's
fantastic.
I think I told you, but I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, it's going to be October 24th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Northampton Senior Center.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Then we also have listservs. So we have some very interesting programs that our members start up. We have our hiking group, we have our gardening group. And again, that's all on the website, and you can hear all about it. You can make the connections if you're really interested in. And if you have a special desire for a certain group, we can create it. You can create it yourself, and we'll join you.
Wow, outstanding. And by the way, those samples, the Steve Harrell, Judith, his partner, has been a guest here. And oh my God, the samples, were... because they bake now. They have the bakery there with their remodeling. So you'd probably expect more than ice cream in that sample.
It'll be interesting.
They're great. And so that's fantastic. And that again is October 24th, 5:30 at the Senior Center. Their quarterly presentation, Northampton Neighbors with Steve Harrell and his samples.
Cool.
So where are things heading in the future, and where do you see this going? I mean, it's taken off really fast, and people like you have made it really stable at the same time. Because things starting off fast could be a flash in the pan, but this is here to stay. And where's it headed?
Yeah. Well, we'd like to make, really close, good connections with some of the professional programs out there, like Highland Valley Elder Services and the VNA, so that, again, Mrs. Smith is getting, my mom was Mrs. Smith, so I have to keep remembering that. But anyway, if Mrs. Smith needs the professional services, she can connect with, she is probably already connected with those people. And maybe she isn't, but, those neighborhood circles will introduce Mrs. Smith to some of the professional organizations if they could meet her need too. We fill in those gaps. And I think that we're strengthening, breaking down some of the walls that are there. You have a group like the visiting nurses. They have a certain responsibility toward an older person. Well, we want to expand some of that. We want to let them be in charge of the home health days and but we can maybe do some of those small chores, or we can provide the support of a friendly visit, which isn't necessarily part of the professional persona that's out there.
Yeah, that really, back to that kind of, you need a ride or you need, other services, but that kind of psychosocial thing that we started talking about that, when I know a lot of seniors say, my friends are gone now, and it's becoming so much harder to just get along without my friends and without that social support, and this these kind of community circles remedy that in such a brilliant way.
Yeah. And I think that the cohort of older people are changing. I've been in this field for so long. It was like I again used to be a site manager at the Salvo House for the nutrition program. We used to have 150 people come on a daily basis for their new meal. And that is like really, really reduced to I'm not even quite sure, maybe 20 a day. So that we have more skills, we're living longer, and we want to give back to the community. It's I can remember where very few of the people that participated in that meals program, again 40 years ago, were driving, and now we drive. Women drive. It is a changing time, and the quality of people that live in Northampton, I can't believe it. Having grown up here, the people we meet who are, professionals who had worked in Vogue and graphic designing, and it goes on, and they want to share those skills of a lifetime and make our community all inclusive and supportive of older people.
Absolutely. This sounds tremendous. And again, just to recap, we're speaking with Linda Desmond from Northampton Neighbors. And this is a member-driven nonprofit in Northampton providing access to services and programs so seniors can, quote-unquote, age in place and continue living in their homes. And they're at northamptonneighbors.org. They're part of the VTV network.org, and they're at 341-0160, 413-341-0160, and check them out on Facebook. There's a whole bunch of information here, photos, and events coming up, like the October 24th, 5:30 quarterly presentation with their guest, Steve Harrell, at the Northampton Senior Center. So we're down to the last 2 minutes.
Okay.
What else would you like to say, or how would you like to close? And thank you for being my guest today. I'm so excited about. Oh, and by the way, we said that anyone can be a member, and to be served by the organization, it'd be 55 years.
Yes.
Yeah, 55.
Or 60. I'm trying to remember.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you can call and find out.
You can check it on the website.
For
definitely.
sure. Yeah. Well, it says seniors. Usually that's
Yeah.
usually 55, right? But they can you can check it out. So what else? So what else would you like to say to close?
I think I spoke, again, because I've been here for so long, that so many new people are coming into our city. I mean, we keep getting all of these acknowledgments of being one of the 10 best small cities to live, to retire in, and everything. And I, as the director of the senior center a few months ago, I kept seeing all of these new people. Sometimes it's hard to recreate your life in a new environment. And Northampton, the Northampton Neighbors offers that an opportunity. A lot of the people that are the 500 members are new to the community, new maybe 40 years here, or 20 years, or 10, and some of them are 5 or just came in. So I think that's one of the real values. It gives it's an icebreaker. You get to go to Hugo's and you get to talk to someone who just moved here from New York City, and you have this camaraderie of wanting to create a really good environment for yourself to grow old in, and I think that's what it's all about. It's giving people an opportunity to really belong to Northampton.
That's so wonderful. I so appreciate having you here. I mean, I'm a resident of nearly 30 years here, having moved out from Gloucester, as I mentioned earlier, and having lived around the Boston area. And I'm so happy to have found this, this community, and it just keeps getting more and more rich as we go along. And this is part of it, Northampton Neighbors. And again, Linda Desmond, Northampton Neighbors. And you want to reach out to them, northamptonneighbors.org, and 341-0160, 341-0160. and Northampton Neighbors on Facebook, and get out to their quarterly presentation. See what's going on. October 24th, 5:30 at the Senior Center. You can meet Steve, the famous Steve Harrell, who was, matter of fact, when I lived in Boston, we used to line up, or I'd even just walk around my neighborhood because I lived in the Back Bay and see the lines for Steve's ice cream, out by the Harvard Club on Commonwealth Ave. It was just, I forget the name of that restaurant on the corner, but it was incredible. And then moving out here and finding out he had sold those restaurants and he was right here in town.
Plus,
fantastic.
he's a member too. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Well, he's out doing his job as a good member, right?
Right.
All right, Linda. Well, thank you again for coming in, and our best to Catherine Baker and all the folks there at Northampton Neighbors. And thanks for listening, folks. We're going to go on to the next portion of our show, and we want to say thank you to our Northampton Community Television audience.